Shalom. Call halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bahashim Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops, a great millstone, even the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. Shalom and salutations, all the brothers are pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The elder Yahshua, I'm back with the WW3 Daily update, and today is War and Rumors of War Tuesday, where we go to Matthew 24:6 in the King James, and we read there. What we're looking for is this famous phrase, wars and rumors of wars. Matthew 24:6, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And then what we do, we go in, we read some of these other versions, and in the NIV we have wars and rumors of. In the NLT we have wars and threats of wars. In the Good News, we have news of battles far away. So we have rumors, threats, and news so far. Okay. And down here in the Aramaic, we have, where's the Aramaic? Aramaic reports. Wars and, okay, you're going to hear of battles and reports. So we got reports, we got news, we got threats and rumors. Take it away, Colonel Damo. This is Colonel Damo.
Hi. Deterrence only works when everyone knows what's being threatened and why.
And this guy is too intellectual for his own good. He's a Jake, actually. He's one of the British that he looked like a hair-lip ass motherfucker, but he's actually too smart for his own good. So try to keep up with him. Take it away. We're looking for rumors, threats, news, and reports. Take it.
Deterrence only works when everyone knows what's being threatened and why. When everybody's been brought in on what the plan of action is and when it's going to happen. Here you have one side talking tough and the other quietly bracing for impact. That's not ambiguity doing clever work, that's confusion doing real damage. And Washington always does this, especially with Trump in charge. It says no decision's been made while still moving ships and planes and hardware around in ways that force everyone else to assume the worst. That sounds careful back home, but in the region it's radioactive. Iran doesn't sit around waiting for a press conference. Insurers don't either. The energy markets certainly don't. The crisis isn't being created by any strike at the moment. It's being created by a build-up that pretends it still might happen. And everybody's wondering whether it will or not. Saudi Arabia gets stuck with the consequences either way. Missile risk, shipping risk, market shock. None of that waits for clarity. That's why it's speaking out of both sides of the room here. One message saying we're not operationally involved. The other saying your threats are already destabilizing things. Those messages only crash into each other because they're now public. Because they are, Washington has now lost the luxury of pretending they've got this under control, because clearly they don't. And once all this is out in the open, Washington loses further room to bullshit, frankly. It can't keep pretending the region is lined up because a major ally has already stepped away from operational support in public, and they're not the only ones. They can't sell escalation as a collective move because it's not. Saudi airspace is explicitly off the table, as is the airspace of other nations in the region. And they can't dress restraint up as careful strategy because restraint now comes after weeks of loud threats that allies are openly saying are already destabilizing things. Deterrence.
Okay. So, yeah. Yep. Go back and watch it again.
Works when everyone knows what's being threatened and why.
Okay. So he laid it down. All right. And what did he bring? He brought rumors. He brought threats. He brought news, right? It was all in there. He brought news and he brought report. He reported on it. So it's all in there. What else did he say? He said something about Trump doing shit. Let's listen to that first part again. He said, you can't keep, bluffing like that, dude. Nobody's paying attention.
Deterrence only works when everyone knows what's being threatened and why. When everybody's been brought in on what the plan of action is and when it's going to happen. Here you have one side talking tough and the other quietly bracing for impact. That's not ambiguity doing clever work, that's confusion doing real damage.
That's what? Doing real damage? Just caught that, and that's the spirit. That's exactly where I was going. Listen. Confusion. That's confusion doing what? Real damage.
Ambiguity doing clever work, that's confusion doing real damage.
Right there. 2nd Ezra 9 and 3 in the G&T. There will be earthquakes, national rebellions, international intrigues, unstable leaders, and confused rulers. When you see this happening, you will know that they are what God Most High has spoken about since the beginning of creation. What? Confusion, confused, damage. Right?
And Washington always does this, especially with Trump in charge. It says no decision's been made while still moving ships and planes and hardware around in ways that force everyone else to assume the worst. That sounds careful back home, but in the region it's radioactive. Iran doesn't sit around waiting for a press conference. No decision's been made while still moving ships and planes and hardware around and doing real damage. And Washington always does this, doing real damage. That's confusion.
We hope that the elect are edified. Shalom.